talk about French kissing, and I'm not talking about the one you're thinking of. I'm talking about la bise. As I'm sure you've seen in French movies, television shows, or if you visited France, you've seen people doing la bise, which is the kisses on the cheek. There's nothing romantic about la bise. It's truly just a greeting. It's similar to the way we would give a hug to one another. But really, hugs here are reserved for family only, if you even do that. Really, la bise is very popular here amongst family, friends, friends of friends. So if you are meeting someone for the first time, but your friend is introducing you, you would probably do la bise, at least where I am here in the South. Anytime we're out and about and my husband sees someone, maybe a childhood friend who's back in town, he would introduce me and we would do la bise, even though I don't know that person. You see this a lot at parties as well. People will come in and do la bise. It can be very tedious. You can actually spend a lot of time. If you come into a party, you will have to go around the whole room doing la bise. And then when you leave, you also have to go around the room and do la bise with each person, or at least the ones that you know well enough. So it can take quite a lot of time to say hello and goodbye in a party type setting. Places you won't do la bise are work situations, unless you have a work culture that's very friendly. A lot of like formal work settings, you will not be doing la bise. You can shake hands for work meetings, things like that. You also won't do it with strangers. Somebody like a cashier you're checking out at the store, you wouldn't do la bise with them. You wouldn't even really shake their hand. They're a total stranger. So it's really reserved for people you know. You also wouldn't do it at like a school setting, like picking up your kids from school. You wouldn't do la bise with your child's teacher. It's just, that's not done. Something that can be a bit tricky is knowing which side to go in on. I typically go for the left side. I think that's because I'm living in the South, in Aveyron, and I feel like it's pretty common for people to start la bise on the left side. I believe most of France starts with the right cheek when you go in to start la bise. So it depends. I would just follow what the French person is doing. That's your best bet in any situation. Follow the lead of the French person in the situation. A lot of times when you do la bise, you will introduce yourself. If you're meeting someone for the first time, you can either say, if you know the person, you might say bonjour as you do la bise, or ça va. You might say something. If you're not talking, you're going to make a little kissing noise. You're not actually kissing the person's cheek, you're just making a noise. So when you touch their cheek with your cheek, you'll go, it's really just a little kissing noise, but you won't actually kiss anyone's cheek. It's not romantic, it's really just a greeting. I know to Americans and maybe other cultures, it can feel very romantic. It can feel very personal, because putting your face that close to someone else's is really personal. But to the French, what we would consider personal is very different from what they would consider personal. For example, a hug to them feels very personal. Putting your whole body up against someone else's feels very personal to them. Whereas in the US, we would be much more comfortable with giving someone a hug than putting our faces next to one another. Something else that can be a bit confusing is figuring out how many kisses to do. So a lot of France, including Paris, will do 2. So they'll just do 2 kisses. In the South, where I am, in Aveyron, we do 3. In other parts of France, like the Southwest, they do 4. But then there are places in the South where they only do 2, like Toulouse. My brother-in-law currently lives in Toulouse, and being from Aveyron, we're all used to doing 3 kisses. But he'll come home for the holidays or something, and I'll try to do 3, and he stops at 2. And I always tease him about it. I'm like, oh, you're a Toulousian now. But it's funny how it's still in the South, but for some reason, this city, does not observe the 3 kisses, it's 2. So you really have to know what you're getting into, and it's always a bit awkward, even for French people. Like it always causes a little laugh or something, figuring out like how many kisses to do with people who aren't from the same area. Sometimes you'll hear people on the phone when they are signing off, instead of saying bye, they might say au revoir, but they also might say bisous, and it doesn't mean like they want to kiss you. It's like la bise, but over the phone. Or I've even seen people do this like in person, like saying goodbye, bisous. It's just even like signing letters. You can put gros bisous, big kisses, but it's just it's kind of like saying hugs. It's a way to say goodbye without actually physically doing la bise. You will see men and women doing la bise. This is not just women or women and men. Men will also do la bise. It's not romantic, like I said. It's really like giving a hug. Something funny that happened to me when I was younger. The first time I met a French person, I think I was probably 12 or 13, and my uncle was picking this kid up from the airport. He was the director of the summer camp, and this kid was coming over for an exchange, and he didn't want to pick him up alone, so he brought me and my little brother, this little boy, Benoit. He gets off the plane, he shakes my uncle's hand, he shakes my brother's hand, and I hold my hand out, and he does la bise. And I was so caught off guard. I was a shy kid, and my uncle just started laughing because my face went so red. I was so embarrassed, and it was just such a funny, awkward moment because I had never done la bise. I definitely didn't expect this kid who just shook my uncle and brother's hand to kiss me on the cheek. And so it was just a really funny moment, especially for my uncle. But anyway, that's my awkward la bise story. I have gotten so used to this now. I know it can be such an awkward thing, but once you've lived here a while, you really do get accustomed to doing la bise. It feels normal now. Have you ever experienced la bise yourself or seen it done in person? Let me know if you have any funny stories, or if you have any questions about la bise. I will try to answer them, or maybe someone in the comments can help me out. Okay, let me know, and thank you for watching.